not go and have a cigarette?
Good evening, members, officers. Welcome to our meeting of Cabinet. We've got 12 items on the agenda this evening. Our first item is apologies for absence. Do I have any apologies this evening?
Thank you. An apology from Councillor McGovern.
Thank you. The next item is declarations of interest. I'll take the county councillors' declarations en bloc. Do we have any further declarations of interest? Nope. Very good. Agenda item number 3 are the minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of September, 19th and 25th of September. They're listed on pages 7 to 46 of the agenda. Are there any matters arising from the minutes of these meetings? In which case, do I have your agreement that they are a true record? All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Agenda item number 4 are cabinet member updates. We've just had a full council meeting where we've done all of those updates, unless there's any pressing or urgent. Councillor, no, good. In which case, agenda item number 5 are cabinet member decision records. Are there any matters arising from the CMDRs? Any matters from the opposition? No, good. In which case, we move on to agenda item number 6, which is the cabinet work programme listed on page 53 to 55. Councillor McGeorge.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring an item to the February Cabinet, which will be an ageing population strategy, please.
Good. Consider it added. Any other member? No. Very good. Agenda item number 7 is the Q1 Treasury Management update. Members are asked to note and make comments on the Capital and Investment Strategy Q1 report. Some highlights there is that in terms of what is often put out into the public domain about the number on our debt, it is in fact lower than has been suggested publicly, and also there is a bit of a lag in the capital spend due to projects starting, so we are around 20 million in variance on the capital spend so far. Does any member have any pressing questions, concerns that they want to raise with us on the investment strategy for Q1? This is going to go to full council later on in the month as well. That was easy. Very good. In which case, does any member of the opposition? No, very good. In which case, we consider it noted. Agenda item number 8. That is right, isn't it? I have noted that. Yeah. Agenda item number 8 is the Article 4 directions for HMOs, and this is Councillor Brown.
As many of you know, we've been looking at the HMOs across the borough. We've been meeting as a task force each Monday for the last 6 weeks. We intend to continue to do so, to look at what HMOs we have across the borough, where they are, what issues might be arising from them in terms of added waste collection, added parking, and with the outcome of having our officers visit all of those across the borough. They've had 284 visits across the borough, looking at the different HMOs, where they are, and the issues that might be arising from them. As you know, at the present, of those HMOs that have less than 5 occupants, we do not need to license them. Anything more than 5 we do. It's very encouraging to see that the work that's been done so far has shown that we don't have major issues in terms of HMOs above 5 that we don't know about. So that's very reassuring, that the work that the team's been able to do on that. What we're looking at now is, within certain areas, looking at licensing those HMOs of less than 5. So the evidence thus far, in order to get an Article 4, we need to have a body of evidence that shows that there is an issue there and what that could look like. And you can see from the report, we're looking at an Article 4 for certain parts of our borough. We're looking at Nethermain region, we're looking at St Martin's wards. In order to ensure that we know where all the HMOs are in those areas, because that's the area of the largest densities of our HMOs. And that's what Article 4 seeks to do. It seeks to enable us as a council to be fully aware of all HMOs, not just those previously above 5 that needed licences, but all will be licensed. And that will go through the usual planning, as does the 5+. And this way, as a council, we will have more ability to be able to monitor those and ensure that any issues arising, that we're aware of them.
Good. Before opening this up, does any member of the opposition have any questions on HMOs? No. Can I ask Ms. Lyons just to put on record, just so everyone's clear about the difference between an immediate HMO application and the longer term one as well? Thank you.
They both do the same. They both take away the ability to change your property straight away to an HMO. However, with a immediate, the Article 4 stops that straight away, and planning permission will be required as soon as that we've approved that Article 4. It starts immediately. With the additional one, it doesn't take effect immediately. It takes effect within 12 months, between 12 months and 2 years. And what that allows us to do then is look at the compensation payable. The evidence for an immediate Article 4 has to be a lot higher than that of a normal Article 4 that we've put in place within 12 months.
And I think that, the important thing that we also need to be cognizant of at all times is not to be judicially reviewed on any of those decisions, because that would obviously render it meaningless until such time as the courts had decided. Councillor Brown.
I was just going to say, by going for the option where we work with landlords for that 12 to 24 months, it is unlikely then that we're going to have to pay a level of compensations to landlords having to follow this procedure where they didn't do before. And it also, as the leader has alluded to, reduces the risk in terms of a judicial review from that, and therefore it has a much better longer term impact for the borough. And it does not preclude us continuing to work with landlords that are coming forward in that 12-month period. So if anything, this puts us in a much stronger position for the long term, and therefore it's more effective.
I think it's worth noting again that it is clear that if you achieve an Article 4, that is simply meaning that under permitted development you require planning permission. It's not an automatic that it will never get it. It is that you will have to go back for planning permission as well. So again, we need to be mindful about expectation management with the public about what isn't being delivered through an Article 4. I would also put on record my thanks to the planning and the environmental health officers, the enforcement officers who have given up an awful lot of their Friday evenings going out and about doing this door-to-door enforcement activity, and to all members of the public. Over 300 properties have been inspected, both the 5+ and the sub-5 HMOs over the course of the last 2 months, and they have all been addresses that have come to us via the public through the text messaging and through emails that have come into us. We have, as I mentioned at full council, identified some issues around planning enforcement and around planning breaches, as well as around environmental waste, where we're enforcing against untidy front gardens and things like that. So that has been a well worthwhile exercise, and I think lots of members of the public have seen us out and about doing that. There are 77 properties where we haven't had the opportunity to enter them, and when we've gone out to visit, and we are taking action to ensure that we are able to carry out those inspections. So I think this is a worthwhile exercise. The HMO task force has been a good initiative, and it is good to continue it, and so we are going to do that. And also I think it is helping with the selective licensing model that we are also looking at to gather the further data. So all of this is helping us to continue to build a picture about what is going on in the borough, and where we have the evidence now to be able to act, where we have seen a big rise in HMOs, and certainly in Councillor Ferguson and I's ward, that is a noticeable issue. So I'm pleased that we are taking this action this evening. Does any other member of the Cabinet wish to speak on this item? Councillor Emma Callaghan.
Thank you. I do think we've done some really good work on this at a good pace. So multi-agency working and bringing teams together has really worked. On the 18th of September, the council launched an SMS service for residents to report suspected illegal HMO activity. May I ask officers to update the Cabinet on how many reports have come through the SMS service, and if that does make up quite a large share of our reports so far? Thank you.
So the exact number on the SMS, because I asked that question on Monday in the task force, We haven't yet received that through, so we can report that back afterwards. The majority of the 300 reports came via email. So the majority of people were emailing in, and we cross-referenced with councillor inquiries as well to see what we were getting through councillor inquiries. The text message service is good, but obviously sometimes people worry that it's not anonymous and that people will come after them, etc., etc. So we don't have the exact number. We can get that exact number. Do you?
238 emails that ended up with 235 properties being visited.
Yeah. So 200, so the emails, we had 238 emails, 235 visits to properties. But yeah, so we will come back on that. Councillor Kerry Smith.
Thank you. Obviously, it benefits my ward, and I'm very grateful for it. The roads were built for so many cars. As a HMO in Kingswood, it is a complete pain in the rear end. They bring home lots of vans, saves their bosses having to pay for storage overnight, less business rates, and residents have to fight for parking spaces. My question is to officers is, had in March 22 the local plan been adopted instead of being binned, just to protect a few scrubby acres of land in Billericay, could we start using this Article 4 protection? The whole daddy Article 4.
So I'll bring Miss Lyons in a moment. I think the point is, if you have a local plan, you have policies around HMOs that you are able to enforce against. And the fact that we don't have a local plan means that we're struggling with that. But as I said at full council on Monday, I am looking forward to the full-throated support of all 42 members when the local plan comes before us in a couple of weeks' time, because I'm sure that if they care about Article 4s as much as I'm led to believe that some do, then they will be voting for it. But Miss Lyons, do you want to give the real answer?
I mean, there are two issues. The first issue is the fact that the type of properties that are going over to HMOs tend to be our larger properties. And even though we're a borough that has got propensity of 3-bedroom properties, we don't build that many family homes, 3-bedroom plus, at the levels that we built up historically. So the one of the policies of the emerging plan would be to protect family homes, which is a starting point, and then there'll be a separate policy to set out criteria of when planning permission should be granted for HMOs. So there'll be a positive policy, we have to have a policy about HMOs, but also the overarching policy is to protect family housing. And then the overarching HMO policy will also look at the spatial capacity of areas to take large quantities of HMOs. We can also go back and revisit the position with regard to we can take areas out of the Article 4, because all these areas we have to constantly review. So we can take areas out of the Article 4 if there's no problems with them an Article 4 in the change of use to HMOs. It's a constantly reviewing one. The impact of not having a local plan, we have a policy in the 1998 plan that is still compliant with the NPPF, and that protects the amenity of dwelling houses. So it is still covered by a very outdated policy. So at the moment, we still have reasons that we can to approve or refuse HMOs under our current policy.
Very good. Members, the recommendations are on page 76. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. That is unanimous. Agenda item number 9 is the Bowers Gifford and North Benfleet Parish Council draft neighbourhood development order for the North Benfleet plotlands. Councillor Brown.
Hi, Kevin. What we've been asked at today is, as you are aware, we've got a local plan being developed at the moment. We've also got across the borough some neighbourhood plans. I'm sure you're all familiar with when Councillor Terry Sargent brought forward Note Bridges neighbourhood plan. And we also have the ability to be able for some of the parishes to look at neighbourhood development orders, which is something similar. So what this aims to do tonight is not for us to agree with or disagree with the findings of that, but to allow this to go out to consultation. Following this process of coming through Cabinet, it will then go to full council, as like the local plan will, before consultation, and those neighbourhood plans that previously have also gone to full council. So what I'm asking you to do tonight is not to say whether or not we agree or disagree as a Cabinet, whether this is a good or bad plan, but that we approve of the ability for those residents in Bowers Gifford and those wider stakeholders to have the opportunity to be able to consult on this and for the next part of that process to continue.
Very good. Does any member of the opposition have any questions on this? No. Any member of the Cabinet? No, we're happy for this to go to consultation. All those in favour, please show. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 10 is the Public Space Protection Order Variations. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was something my brief picked up on in the summer when I took this brief over. It started originally around face coverings not being banned in the original Public Space Protection Order. And when you see these little darlings on their mopeds riding round or up to no good in the height for summer with hoodies on and masks on, if you've got an exceptionally very rare medical condition where they don't feel the heat of summer, or they don't want to be recognised on camera and other CCTV up to no good. My officer Julie Long, with the assistance of Councillor Callaghan, who's doing a woman safety item, wanted to add in as well, and we've put it into here as a part of this consultation. It is known as unwelcome, unwanted attention in public spaces, in plain English, catcalling. As I said at Monday's Cabinet, that every single pound, be it male, female, whatever, should feel comfortable in our town centre. Any lady, woman, daughter should be able to walk through our town centre and not be harassed by some sort of 70s throwback from a Carry On film, sticking two fingers in their mouth and doing one of those silly old whistles to stuff far, far worse and very creepy. And thanks to these phones with cameras, it can be quite nasty with it being posted on the internet where a woman's being harassed through the town centre. So if people want to do those sort of horrible things, that makes money for the council. And I'm happy to profiteer from such idiots and criminals. And the same the Mask Brigade. So we're going out for a public consultation. I shall read to you what my officer has produced, Julie Long. I am bringing forward proposals to vary our existing public space protection order to strengthen how we address behaviours in our town centres and public spaces that cause distress, the fear of crime and crime itself and antisocial behaviour. The variations we are proposing respond directly to the concerns of our residents, the police and our local partners. They are practical, proportionate and a direct response to what people are telling us every day about how they feel in our public spaces. Concealment of identity for the purpose of crime and antisocial behaviour. Firstly, we are proposing to prohibit wearing of articles or clothing or items that conceal identity for the purposes of causing distress, alarm or committing crime or antisocial behaviour in our town centres. We know that individuals concealing their faces, often with balaclava, masks or hoods, continue to be a common tactic used by those engaged in antisocial behaviour, riding these scooters or mopeds recklessly through our parks and high streets and intimidating members of the public. While the police do have powers under Section 60AA of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act, these powers can only be used under specific authorisations, typically when there's a risk of serious violence or major disorder. You may have seen such powers were recently used at large-scale protests. By including this prohibition in the Public Space Protection Order, we enable authorised council officers with delegated authority to instruct the removal of facial covering, as well as police to take proportionate action when people deliberately conceal their identity to cause harm or distress. This is not about restricting legitimate use of face coverings. We will absolutely protect the rights of individuals who wish to cover their face for medical, cultural, religious reasons, and I am assured by the head of ours in Improvement in Community Safety that there will be thorough training and guidelines to ensure this prohibition is used legitimately. This is about targeting those who conceal their identity to intimidate, to offend or to escape identification. We know how important CCTV is in helping the police investigate incidents, and we have also taken steps to improve safety by switching street lights back on all night across the borough. This proposal complements the action by reducing the ability for the offenders to act with impunity under the cover of concealment. So anyone dressed up like Dick Turpin will be dealt with. Unwelcome and unwanted attention in public spaces, aka catcalling. The second proposal variation is to prohibit unwelcome, unwanted attention in public spaces, whether sexual, verbal or behaviour that makes people feel harassed, unsafe. This includes behaviour such as catcalling, following someone, making sexualised comments or gestures, persistent questioning, whistling, leering or propositions. I think you can all work out what propositions is meant. We're trying to be diplomatic. Through our engagement work, including surveys, forums and our Women's Safety Charter, women and girls have repeatedly told us that this behaviour is is commonplace and that it negatively affects how safe they feel in our streets, parks and town centres. Whilst the Public Order Act does give the police some powers to respond to harassment, these powers are not available to our council, its civil enforcement officers. By including this behaviour in the public space protection power, we empower those officers to take immediate and proportionate enforcement action, issuing fixed penalty notices where appropriate. This sends a clear message that harassment, intimidation, unwanted attention are not acceptable in our borough. And it also supports the change that we are going through, encouraging a women's safety charter, making our borough a place where women and girls feel respected, valued and safe. Consultation and next steps. Public consultation will take around 4 weeks, longer than the Essex County Council one on the e-scooters, held last year. We will seek views from residents, local businesses, the police and other statutory partners, and use that feedback together with the evidence we already have to shape the final proposals before bringing them back for decision. This is about being proportionate, evidence-led and community focused. But that'd be it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Councillor Barnes. Oh, there you go.
I just wanted to ask one question on the women's safety, because I think the stat that sort of jumped out at me was the 88% basically of women who say that they feel safe, or feel unsafe, or don't feel safe after dark. And I just wondered what plans do we have, given that we're looking to sort of boost the nighttime economy in Basildon, across the town centre in particular. How are we going to work with the nighttime economy to make sure that they're aware of these policies, so that if there are situations where people are made to feel uncomfortable, the staff who work in those premises understand the tools that they've got that could potentially deal with the situation?
Thank you. I'll take the question in the spirit it was given, and I'll reply in that same spirit. As you'll be aware, through the work the leader has done with businesses in the town, they've got investment coming in for improved CCTV. We've upgraded the CCTV system that's going through it. We had a look this week at the street lighting in the town centre. It needs an upgrade. It needs the work completed and fully upgraded. Myself has a meeting with the new medical unit that's taken over the old Debenhams. They want to be a part of this safety in the town centre. And more importantly, in the summer was the launch of the town centre wardens, who are having a much better effect. But these are all step-by-step changes, and added on to that as well, myself and the leader have had many conversations with the chief executive, with the district commander, who has changed the shift patterns of officers, which will see more police in our town centre. And I think the presence is backed up with evidence, with the numbers of scooters that have been stopped, either seized or crushed or fined. So there is a presence, but I appreciate where you're coming from, but when the town centre had a low reputation of being lawless, you can't fix it overnight. So you'll appreciate that in the spirit it was given.
All right, thank you very much. I don't think the irony is lost on anybody here that Councillor Barnes is apparently interested in women's safety, but not when it comes to protecting female council officers from his own members. But there we go. Does any member of the Cabinet wish to ask a question? Councillor Emma Callaghan.
Not a question, but just a comment to say, you know, I hope that it comes across that this council is walking the walk when it comes to women's safety. You know, I think that everything that you just read out there, Councillor Smith, on script, which is a novelty for you.
Almost.
You know, just shows that we're having a multi-pronged approach at this. I think that, you know, making money off outdated practices of catcalling and unwanted advances in the borough, you know, I think that's good, because that's not where we want to be. We don't want women to feel threatened in any way. We don't want unwanted advances. It is, in a recent survey, 42.5% of women feel extremely unsafe in the town centre. And I would just want to say, you know, well done to officers. You know, like Julie, I would just say I've really enjoyed working with you and your team on the Women's Safety Forum. We're now feeding in directly residents' concerns and challenges from the forum. We've obviously turned the street lights back on, which we have heard from women residents has made a huge difference, especially those that have been attacked or experienced harassment in some parts of the borough as well. And I just say there's a lot more to do, but this is a really good, welcome, you know, initiative and just shows, as I said, that we're really committed to this. Oh, and talk about being on script. Just saying that Kerry and I have worked together on these Together for Safer Communities events. Have been very well attended, and you know the difference it makes to residents to really hear that we're making progress, that we're listening to their concerns, that we're delivering on our promises. There's more to do. We wish we could do it faster and do everything, but I feel that residents are really feeling from these meetings that we're listening and we're responding. So I just want to say thanks again to Julie's team for supporting us in that work.
Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Leader. I think I speak for all of us tonight when I say that protecting the public is one of the most important things that we have the opportunity and the responsibility to do as a local authority, and we should take all steps that we have as an opportunity to be able to protect the public in whichever way we can. I want to take this opportunity to thank Councillor Emma Callaghan for her leadership of the Women's Safety Forum, along with Councillor Joseph as well, and Councillor Power in the work that they've undertaken to really understand the challenges that residents are facing, putting in place the programmes and preemptive work to be able to tackle violence against women and girls, which has no place in our borough and has no place in our society. Councillor Smith, I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for your work in driving forward the Public Space Protection Order. As someone who represents a town centre ward, and I know your ward also borders the town centre, our residents are frequently in touch with us around the challenges and how safe they feel within the town centre. And over the last 15 months, we've taken some real strong steps in being able to strengthen community safety within our town centre, whether that's the community safety wardens, whether that's turning the street lights on. Leader, you and I were out on Saturday night in the town centre speaking to residents and hearing firsthand from them how they were feeling around how Basildon is becoming a safer and better place for them. But that work is never done. And what we're seeking to be able to do tonight is be able to put in place even stronger protections to be able to work with the public to make our town centres a safer place for them and a safe space for all residents to be able to enjoy being. And I fully support this report this evening. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you. I think you're right, and I think it was a great evening on Saturday as the whole of Basildon was celebrating the fact that Sunderland was second in the Premier League, having beaten Chelsea. Are there any other questions? Nope. Do you want to wrap up? Yep. Okay.
Thank you for cross-party support on this item. It's just really disappointing. This could have been done by the previous leader, not yourself, Councillor Barnes. You wasn't a member of the council, so it's not a poke at you. But why did Councillor Baggott not want to deal with people breaking the law, hooded up, masked out? They come typically out of Basildon Station, these young people who've been tied into these terrible county line gangs, and they cover their faces. They're 15, 14, they don't want to be identified as drug dealers because they've been caught into these county line gangs. They come out of Basildon Station, once they're onto that outside the remit of British Transport Police, that mask is on, our teams of civil, uniformed officers and the police can take direct action. And there might be a positive outcome where we save that child from having their life ruined by some vile, horrible, kingpin drug dealer. So there's a positive. Why did Councillor Baggott, when he was leader of the council, never do this? Why did he never protect women from these things I've described? And I know catcalling is one thing, but the sexual intimidation, the harassment, why did he not want to protect them? This could have been done how long ago? Yeah. How long could this have been done by? But by people using common sense, coming together, these two important things are going to be resolved, subject to the consultation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, members. The recommendations are on page 136. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Our next agenda item is to move into part 2 in order to protect the council commercially. All those in favour of moving into part 2? Thank you. Can I ask the recording to be turned off? Thank you.